Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is happy and healthy and getting out there and getting some exercise. So yeah, I wanted to make a quick video because I've come to a very fundamental conclusion, namely that I wanted to share with you, namely that Apple and I have diametrically opposite views of what the Apple Watch is good for and what should be using them for. And specifically, it seems to me that Apple would very much like to promote the view that we should use them 24/7, 360, minus, of course, the little bit of time that it takes to charge it every day. And I don't. I think, the Apple Watch, much as I love it, it's a great tool for very, very specific purposes. And so I actually think it should be used very sparingly. And so that's what I wanted to talk about in this video and get your feedback on as well. And so diving right in, starting with sleep, which Apple would like us to track on the phone, you will be happy to hear that my phone is turned off and spends the night sleeping in a drawer because I see no purpose whatsoever in using it at night. And there are two issues that I wanted to talk about it. First of all, for those of you who are healthy, there simply is no need to track your heart rate that night. It really doesn't do anything for you. And if you want to know what your resting heart rate and heart rate variability is, then obviously the simple thing to do is to check it in the morning using an app like HRV for training or any number of other apps that will do it for you in a couple of minutes, 5 at the most, and will save you sleeping with the watch. And if you're thinking about sleep stages, then I think we can all appreciate that the sleep stage tracking, light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, and all of that is simply inaccurate on all watches. And there is a very good reason for it, of course, and that is ultimately we detect sleep by looking at brain waves. Different types of sleep have different brain wave frequencies, and brain waves happen in the brain. We track them using EEG by putting electrodes on the skull and trying to track it with a heart rate sensor on the wrist, as we can all tell, doesn't work any well, and it wouldn't work well. It's a little bit like looking for bananas on an apple tree, if you don't mind the analogy. And I'm using an apple tree on purpose here, by the way. Hopefully you think it's funny. It's just a bad idea. It's going to give you inaccurate information, and there is simply no point in doing that. And besides that, I hope you're not having any sleep issues, but if you do, you probably know that without looking at any watch data, and if you do, hopefully you're getting help for it. There is a singular exception for people who may want to wear the Apple Watch at night, and that deals with the alarm and fall detection. So if someone is concerned that they might trip and fall at night, maybe they need to go to the bathroom or anything, and would want the watch to call 911 for them, that would in fact be a very legitimate reason to sleep with the watch to get that functionality. But that is quite frankly the only legitimate reason that I can think of why anyone would ever want to sleep with an Apple Watch or any other watch on. And that's why I don't do it, and my watch sleeps in a drawer all by itself. And so the second area that I wanted to cover that goes to sort of how much we use Apple Watches or any other digital sports and smartwatches for that matter is HRV tracking during the day. And, once again, I don't do it, and if you're healthy, I don't see any reason why you would either. And the reason for that is very simple. Your heart rate will vary throughout the day, as I think we all appreciate, right? It will be lower when you're sitting at your desk. It will be higher when you're out and about. And, once again, it will be low if you're relaxed. It will be high if you get upset about something. And once again, you don't need a watch to do that, to know that. And nor will analyzing your heart rate throughout the day do much of anything for you, probably. If you think you have heart issues, obviously, you may want to seek medical help. So with the exception of people who've been told by a physician that they need to track their heart throughout the day for some issues, and if you've agreed with your physician that the Apple Watch is the right thing to do, then great. But if you're just healthy, there is simply no need for you to be wearing the watch to track your heart rate throughout the day. Now, I know that some people wear it to close the rings to track your activity throughout the day. And I'm going to be very honest with you, I think that rings are a diabolical design in their manipulative design. Your body knows that you've been out walking, your body knows that you've exercised. You don't need to close any rings on a watch for that. I completely ignore the rings, although I use the watch for exercises, I will talk about in a minute. And if you haven't already, I think you should give yourself the permission to ignore the rings and just go on with your life. Don't wear the watch just because you want to capture all the walking and things that you do so you can close the rings. It's just not useful, I don't think. Next, email. I don't do email notifications on the watch because I don't want to be disturbed all the time and because I think it's the wrong form factor. People might disagree. If you think it's useful, by all means, I can see why you may want to use it, but I don't. And so that brings me to, what do I use the Apple Watch for? And I use it primarily for one single purpose, and that is to track my exercise in real time, and in real time so that I can know the intensity of my exercise and can regulate it as I'm exercising, whether it's running or bicycling or lifting weights or whatever. If I know at what level of intensity I'm exercising relative to the level that I'd like to be exercising at, then I can make the real-time adjustments that I need to. And that is the primary purpose. Now, there are two other capabilities that the watch has that I think are very useful in that regard, and that is because it has cellular connectivity, I can, for instance, go and run and bike without bringing a phone, and I've never liked bringing a phone with me when I'm out running. And so that's a great reason to have the Apple Watch as opposed to many other watches as far as I'm concerned, because if someone needs to get hold of me, especially someone in my family, then they can do that, and if I need any help, then I can call out. And along with that, also the wallet, which allows me to bring a credit card and my health insurance card. If something were to happen, never has, and hopefully never will, knock on wood, then I have that stuff with me, and that will hopefully help me deal with whatever situation I end with. And for that reason, I think the Apple Watch is fabulous for going out and exercising with and staying in touch and being able to have some digital money and an insurance card with you if you need to. It's not that great when it comes to navigation. As we know, that's the sort of the area that Garmin owns. But I think the good news is that most of us spend most of our time exercising in places that we know, and so we don't need navigation to do that. Now, one of the implications of what I just told you is that my Apple Watch actually has very few apps on it, because I don't need that many apps to do what I just talked about, namely exercise and have a wallet. I do sometimes use it for a secondary purpose, but that doesn't increase the number of apps that I need. And that is, if I just want to hop out and go for a quick walk, or maybe go and get something from the grocery store around the corner and don't want to stick my phone in the pocket because it's bigger, then, having a watch is very convenient because, once again, it allows me to stay in touch. Similarly, when traveling, airports are busy. If I can stick maybe my phone in my briefcase or backpack and be able to notify of phone calls and be able to take phone calls or text messages on the wrist by the watch, that's very convenient as well. But once again, that doesn't call for me to have lots of apps because, as we know, because the capability of a watch, and any smartwatch and any sports watch, is kind of limited by its size and processing power and battery and whatnot, the apps are also very limited in what they can do on their own without you having the companion apps opened on the phone, which sort of limits limits the usefulness of sort of having the watch, so to speak, right? And now I'd like to hear from you, sort of how you use your Apple Watch. If you agree or disagree with me, leave us comments below, and we'll take it from there. Thanks for watching, be well, and take good care. Bye-bye.